It's time for a new seasonal strain from our friends and sponsors at Imperial Organic Yeast. W04 Paramount is a specialized wine strain perfect for seltzer fermentations. Imperial W04 Paramount is available now through the end of February. You know we love Imperial yeast. My stir plate is dusty because I don't make starters anymore for moderate gravity 5-gallon batches. With a pitch rate of 200 billion cells per easy-to-open package, my airlocks are usually bubbling before bedtime. Ask your local homebrew store for Imperial Organic Yeast and check them out at imperialyeast.com. Welcome to Basic Brewing Radio for Thursday, January 7th, 2021. I'm James Spencer. Here at Basic Brewing Radio, we're all about home brewing. This week, Steve Wilkes and I tackle Hop Sampler number 19, featuring Amarillo, Hallertau, Mittelfruh, and a blend of the two. If you go to basicbrewing.com, you can find archives of our audio and video shows, and if you go to basicbrewingshop.com, you can find our DVDs and our brewers' logbooks. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Basic Brewing and find our show page on Facebook as well. If you want to support us financially, check out patreon.com/basicbrewing, and thanks to everybody who's helping out in that way. If you go to patreon.com/basicbrewing, you can see a long list of stuff that you can access if you sign up as a supporter, and many thanks to everybody who's doing that. Steve and I haven't been able to get together to shoot a video episode in a while. What with the holidays and other things getting in the way, it's been a bit crazy around here, but I hope we can knock out a couple before long. We both have some delicious things to talk about and taste. It's just finding the time to get together. However, I have been shooting a bonus video for financial subscribers. I'm fermenting something akin to kimchi with Brussels sprouts instead of cabbage, and I'm doing it in a vacuum-sealed bag. It's a fun process. It dispenses with, making a brine and trying to keep the vegetables submerged in a jar. With this, you just add 2% salt by weight and then seal the veggies in a vacuum bag, taking out as much air as you can. And within a day, the bag starts to puff up. So far, I haven't had a bag pop. I'm only going to let this go to like 3 or 4 days. I've done it a few times before, once with this recipe and other times with hot peppers for hot sauce. And the Brussels sprouts pop, it puffs up a lot more than the peppers for some reason. The final product is delicious, and I posted a picture of my bag on Instagram if you want to see that. The bag of sprouts, that is. Our friends Ricky and Kelly from Grow and Fill Meadery are launching a new mead, Bright Eyed. It's blueberry coffee mead with maple, vanilla, and cinnamon. That's blueberry coffee mead with maple, vanilla, and cinnamon. It sounds like breakfast. And for a limited time, Grow and Fill is going to have bright-eyed coffee mugs so you can enjoy your mead on an early morning Zoom call. That may or may not be a good idea. Use your own judgment there. Grow and Fill is now shipping their Bright-Eyed and other delicious craft meads along with Havoc meads all across the country. And if you make your own meads and are stuck for recipe ideas or need advice, Grow and Fill is an open-source meadery with lots of good info for home mead makers on growandfill.com. Grow and Fill makes a wide selection of moderate-gravity meads in cans that are great for camping or just sitting by a warm fire. Check out Bright-Eyed and all the other deliciousness at family-owned and operated growandfill.com. That's GROENNFELL. Many thanks to everybody who submitted stories for our annual disaster show, the longest show ever. I'm gathering prizes from Grow and Fill, Imperial, and High Gravity, along with something from Steve and me. It's going to take me a bit to get all organized and shipped out, so hang tight. Be patient. Let's take a look into the mailbag, shall we? Cameron works at Big Rock Brewery in Toronto, Canada, and sends an email with the subject line, Carrot Gvike. Is this heresy? Cameron says, I thought I'd share a truly unholy beer with you all that I created, a Carrot Gvike Pale Ale. Surprisingly, this turned out magnificently. Cameron says, I went for a kind of garden vibe, so I used a combination of a ton of ingredients. For fun, I named the beer What's Up Doc. In a 3-gallon recipe, the grain bill included all of my leftover grains, consisting of Maris Otter, two-row, Pilsner, Vienna malt, and flaked wheat. Hopped it with Hallertau for my 60/30-minute edition, Laurel hops at Flameout, and the addition of half an ounce of organic ground thyme at Flameout. Cameron says, of course, I also added 1 liter of organic pasteurized carrot juice at Flameout, too. To make it even crazier, I pitched this wort on top of the leftover yeast cake from a pineapple Kvike blonde ale made with Hornindal Farm Kvike yeast from Escarpment Labs. Original gravity of 1043 and a final gravity of 1006 for an ABV of 4.85%. Cameron says the resulting beer is funky, spicy, juicy and spicy from the thyme, and slightly toasty from the combined malt bill. Thoroughly impressed with what carrot brought to the beer, especially with the lingering color. This isn't my first time brewing with thyme either. I definitely recommend using ground thyme for Flameout editions in small quantities. It adds a perfectly weird herbal complexity to pale ales. Wow. Thanks, Cameron. That's a lot. I can't remember trying a beer with carrot and or thyme. I wonder if I could come up with like a carrot cake beer to go with my fruitcake barley wine. By the way, I still hear from brewers who successfully make that wacky fruitcake barley wine, and they like it. What a crazy thing. Hey, let's talk about our friends and sponsors, Desiree and Dave from High Gravity in Tulsa. Did you get a new brewing system for Christmas? If not, maybe you should treat yourself. A lot of people aren't in a position to do such a thing right now, but if you are, check out the wide range of electric brewing systems at highdgravitybrew.com. Dave builds the Warthog controllers and systems right there in the back of High Gravity. I've got one, and I love it. You see it on Basic Brewing Video all the time. On highdgravitybrew.com, you can build an electric system to your specifications, or you can pick out a turnkey system that's already configured. I have the 240-volt brew-in-a-bag setup, but if you prefer 2 or 3 vessels, highdgravitybrew.com has you covered too. From 5 gallons to 2 barrels, highdgravitybrew.com will take the pain out of propane. They even have electric systems from other manufacturers too. Check it all out at family-owned and operated highdgravitybrew.com. That's highdgravitybrew.com. Okay, let's see if Steve Wilkes and I have any luck in telling the difference between Hallertau, Mittelfruh, Amarillo, and a blend of the two. Steve Wilkes, welcome back to Basic Brewing Radio.
Thanks, James. It's a pleasure to be back.
You're broadcasting for the first time from your house.
For the first time in a long time. I used to have the studio set up here at the home, but the landlord moved me out, and so I've been doing it at the store for 4 years. But then today I thought, why not do it from the house again?
Yeah,
have the conviviality of my family around.
You're usually in the back of stevesbrewshop.com. Now you can drink as much as you want and not have to worry about transportation afterwards.
Well, that's true. Of course, there I could really drink as much as I want. Here I'm limited by refrigerator space and my wife.
You could lock the door and say you're still recording, but it's been 4 hours. It's another disaster show.
Yeah, right.
Well, here, I think this is, if I can read my writing in my brewer's logbook, my Basic Brewing Brewer's logbook, this is hop sampler number 19, I believe. This was brewed on November 16th, and it was bottled on November 30th. So this has been in the bottle for a little over a month, and they're well conditioned. And what it is I brewed a batch with just Hallertau Mittelfruh, and another batch with just Amarillo, and then I did a blend between the two. And to tell you the truth, I thought that the reason I picked these two hops was I thought that they were going to be so far on each end of the spectrum that it was just going to be a cinch.
I did too. I remember the day that you did this, picked them.
I said I want to do a tasty one, but I want it to be easy.
Nope.
We've been sampling a little bit as we poured these into our little plastic cups, and we're waiting for them to warm up a little bit. So the recipe is, if you haven't heard this before, these are 6-pack batches. So what I do is I start with 3 quarts of water, or about 3 liters, and to that I add 1 pound or 450 grams of Pilsen Light dry malt extract. And then I bring that just up to the boil. It just starts to bubble. And here the temperature of the boil it seems to be around 208 degrees Fahrenheit. So it just starts to bubble. And what I do is I add the hops, the prescribed amount of hops, and then I take it off the heat and I let it sit there for 10 minutes to do a hop stand for 10 minutes. And then I chill it down in an ice bath, which takes it's probably it takes less time nowadays, but we're usually around 11 minutes. And then I put it into a 1-gallon jug and add 3 grams of Safale USO5 and ferment that way. So what we have in the first batch, or in the first batch I brewed, is 1 ounce or 28 grams of the Hallertau. And then the second one, the alpha acid level was 4.2% in that one. The second batch I brewed was 11 grams of Amarillo at 10.7% alpha acid, so almost twice or more than twice as much. And then in the third batch, I blended 14 grams or half an ounce of the Hallertau and then 5.5 grams of the Amarillo together. So here, and then we bottled, my wife and I bottled these, and then she has concealed the identity of these by putting a piece of duct tape over the top of each of these bottles and then randomized them, put numbers 1, 2, 3 on them, so we don't know what we're tasting. Our job is to describe what we're tasting and try to figure out what we're tasting, figure out what we like the best, and figure out whether the combination of the two is better or worse. So how's that? Is that enough description, you think, Steve?
That's a mouthful.
That's known in the business as stretching. Filling time.
It's killing time. There's that's basically what it is. We're just doing a sensory panel.
Yes.
If it were the early 60s, we'd also be using LSD.
Now, who's to say we're not? I could have slipped some in there. One random bottle out of the 6 has hallucinogens. So,
yes. I think I found it. Me and Mama Cass. We'll see you later.
Am I sounding different? Okay, so let us taste randomly selected beer number 1.
It's a nice pale ale.
Mm-hmm.
Nice mouthfeel. It reminds me quite a bit of the ones you brew. A lot of these things with Herzberger, and it reminds me of that. I know it's not Herzberger, but it's got that. I don't know. And Herzberger and Hallertau are very close together. That's actually the point I'm making. So I'm almost jumping to this is a Hallertau beer, but I don't know that. I'm just random thoughts. Random thoughts here.
A few minutes ago, when I tasted these, when they were really cold, they were all 3 very similar.
Yeah. I was going to say. So when I opened them up, I brought them out of the fridge, And I poured 3 glasses and took 3 sips, and I went, "Oh, good God, I can't tell these apart at all." I mean, like I really couldn't. And I'm hopeful that as they move along, I'll be able to. This number one, it's just a nice little pale ale. It's fruity. I think the hop character's fruity in it, and maybe I don't want to call it sweet, but it doesn't. There's not a strong. It's not really. It's not very bitter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to use the word sweet. There's kind of a fruity sweetness on the back of the tongue with it. And I don't think that it's like a malt sweetness. It's not like it's unfinished or, higher gravity, finishing gravity.
Right. Yeah, that's why I didn't want to, again, say exactly the same. I didn't want to call it a sweet beer because that implies something malty. But I just don't get that strong bittering thing. Like, let's just pretend you put like 3 ounces of Warrior in this, which would have a strong bittering component.
Wouldn't be able to talk after that.
And yet there'd still be people at HomebrewCon going, "Give me more."
Yeah.
Put some hops in it, dude.
Just sucking on one of those syringes with a hop extract on it.
That's right.
Now, how would you describe the fruitiness? Or is there a certain? To me, it's kind of a tangerine-y, maybe.
Yeah. I just say light citrus. So you can talk me into tangerine, pretty easy. Tangerine or to orange. Not grapefruit. I don't get grapefruit out of it. I don't get any of a. I don't know that into the citrus universe. I don't know what kumquat's supposed to taste like, but I like saying kumquat. So I'm going to attribute kumquat to it because it's fun to say, but it does have a light citrus, orange to tangerine or tangerine to orange. That's about it to me. It's very pleasant, and be a nice beer to drink.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with tangerine because it's not. To me, it's not as assertive as like an orange, or a grapefruit's got that pithy thing going on. I don't get that. It's just a nice, juicy. I would if you told me that this was like a New England IPA, one of those juicy, hop forward beers, I would say sure, it's delicious.
Yeah.
I continue to be amazed at this recipe. The fact that it's an extract beer, it's not boiled, and the hops are only steeped for 10 minutes before chilling. Not to pat myself on the back, but through experimentation in this series, I think we figured out a pretty good, a pretty good beer.
Exactly. And it also just speaks to the fact that if you just want to knock out a quick beer, I can't tell how many people come into the store and tell me that they promised they'd brew beer for their cousin's wedding and it's in 3 days, and what have I got? Well,
I've got directions to the liquor store.
Maybe not that, but yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that within some modicum of reason, you can brew a nice beer really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Because really rehydrating modern malt extracts with a very simple hop build like this and good fresh yeast, and you can have a decent beer in about a week.
Yeah, this was, according to my notes, this was brew kettle to bottle in like 2 weeks. But yeah. I probably could have bottled before then.
Probably, or kegged. Actually, I mean, like the fastest you could move it through would be, I would assume, would throw it into a keg.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, it's just always amazing to me because I always think I'm still of a mindset that it's going to be at least 2 months, maybe 3, before going to have anything to drink there, but it's just not really true. Or well, it's not. It doesn't have to be true.
So we, another part of this hop sampler series, we read a randomly selected hop descriptor. So do you have a?
And I just happen to have it.
One of the two.
Yes, I got this. By the length of it, I got this off of James Joyce's front porch. And a hermetically sealed Jameson bottle. So I will read this in the Gaelic. This is Hallertau Mittelfruh. So that's the variety of Hallertau that you used. So Hallertau Mittelfruh, they go by the same name, but the Mittelfruh or Hallertau Mittelfruh are all names for the original German Hallertau variety. Dating back more than 100 years, it stems from an old German landrace, and it's one of the original 4 noble hops. It features a lightly flowery and spicy aroma. Though its popularity has been steadily declining over the last 60 years, primarily as a result of grave susceptibility.
How is that spelled? Is there an umlaut in there?
It was just one of those words from 7th grade that just snapped right up at me of grave susceptibility to. Here's the one that really scared me, and it scared me 2 words in advance. Verticulatum. I can't say it. Verticulium. There's got to be a scientist out there who will correct me. To a kind of wilt. Okay? So verticulium wilt and poor yield. It has been used to create a multitude of offspring, most of which are wilt tolerant. The origins from Germany, of course, we just said that. The signature landrace variety of Hallertau region in Bavaria, it's Bavaria Hallertau Mittelfruh. So I guess that's also a geographic place. Is at least to some the epitome of noble hops. Kind of this to me. I really like this hop personally. Usage is said to be as an aroma hop, although it can and is used throughout the boil. It's most prized for its fine, elegant aroma and flavor contribution. Mittelfruh has been one of Europe's most widely esteemed varieties for centuries and is particularly synonymous with continental lagers, particularly Bavarian styles, and many types of German and Belgian ales. It's complex but mild and approachable, a mixture of sweet, earthy, and herbal with vivid impressions of new-mown hay, sweet spices, and dried flowers. This was written by Max Factor, I think.
I was going to say.
Its many offshoots and daughters show some of these same qualities, but none have the same range and balance as Mittelfruh.
Continued on the next page.
I told you it was from James Joyce.
So we're talking essentially spicy and flowery.
Yeah, but also new-mown hay, sweet spices, dried flowers. Man, this thing has got romance novel written all over
it. Rolling in the Hallertau.
Rolls in the hay. So Hallertau Mittelfruh would be kind of like, I don't know, it would be kind of like a romance novel or a story from Vanity Fair in the 50s. Whereas our other contestant, Amarillo, it's pretty much your, I don't know. It's pretty spicy. We'll get to that.
Let's take a quick break from tasting to talk about our friends and sponsors at Tavour. If you listen to this show, you know about Tavour. It's a way to select delicious craft beers you may not be able to find in your area and have them delivered to you. It's not a Beer of the Month club where someone else chooses beer for you and you kind of get them randomly. You only pay for the beer that you choose over the course of the month. Signing up for Tavour is free. Just create an account at Tavour.com. That's T-A-V as in Victor, O-U-R.com. And download their iPhone or Android app. You'll receive notifications for 2 new beers each day that are available for purchase with in-depth tasting notes from Philip at DeVore. This month, look for selections from Sig, Sierra Nevada, Mirage, Gnarly Barley, Pontoon, Invasive Species, Saint Errant, Spyglass, and Fanta Flora. If you're not interested in the beers you see, no worries. Just skip the ones you don't want. However, when you do see something that you do, don't wait. Just click on it to add it to your crate. Your beer arrives fresh every few weeks, allowing you enough time to fill a box and pay the least shipping. Why don't you check it out? It doesn't cost anything to sign up, and there's no obligation to purchase anything. In fact, if I can ask you a favor, go to tavor.com or download the app, and when you sign up, enter the promo code Basic Brewing, all one word. You'll get $10 off your first shipment of $25 or more. Again, it's free to sign up, and there's no obligation to purchase. Sign up at tavor.com, T-A-V as in Victor, O-U-R.com, or with the Tavor app and enter Basic Brewing as the promo code. So I'm sipping on beer number 2. Okay, it's more different now. Ooh.
Yep. It's different.
So the key is once again, let your beers warm up. And also let them be in the bottle. Let them bottle condition if you want to have good foam on your beers. There's another thing that we've learned.
Yeah, for sure. These have all got a nice head retention. They're doing well. Good beer.
I like this one better. This one's more complex. It's less. Number one is nice and drinkable. It's delicious, but it's just kind of one note. It's just that kind of sweet tangerine-y kind of a thing. Beer number 2, there's more stuff going on. There's more of a, I guess I want to say spicy, more of a spicy character to it.
Yeah, it is. It is a little spicier. Yeah.
If I were to drink a lot of either of these two, I think I would prefer to drink a lot of number 2 because it is more, to me, it's more interesting.
That's pretty crushable.
Yeah. It seems more. I don't know if my sample's more carbonated than number 1, but it's got more of a bite.
Yeah, it does. It does have more of a bite, and it's a little crisper, and that makes it a little more refreshing. And I think it has a little bit more. It's a little bit more bitter. I mean, the bite. I assume. I guess that's the bittering.
Yeah.
But it just feels like it's got a little bit more of a finality when I drink it. It's got an end to the drink,
Yeah. It's cleaner on the palate.
Yeah.
And I have to say that the reason that I put 1 ounce of the Hallertau and 11 grams of the Amarillo is to do sort of a ratio. Since the 28 grams of the Hallertau at 4.2, I did the calculation and did 11 grams at 10.7, so that in theory the bittering levels would be the same between the two. That's why I used the different amounts.
Yeah, and I think you got. I mean, assuming these are. I'm assuming these are the 2 different ones here. They have to be at some level, but the bittering between the 2 are relatively the same. I mean, I don't get a big giant bitter bomb out of the second one, but it does have a finality to the sip of beer. I know that I'm done. This one, the first one is kind of sweet going in, and it lingers sweet. It stays in kind of like candy that you just wish that tastes really good and you wish would go away.
Yeah, yeah. The second one, to me, there's a little bit of an earthy note too, kind of a dirt sort of almost, not in a bad way.
Well, now that does get back to the. Let me recall to you the.
It's been a while since I've eaten New Moon hay, but
yeah, New Moon hay and earthiness and I don't know, like, of course, it has offshoots and daughters. So
I like it. I like number 2. I like number 1 as well, but number 2 to me is more of a mature product.
I like number 2 quite a bit better.
Yeah.
The accolades I showered on number 1, I now take back. If I were a Tudor king, I would declare number 1 to be Catholic, and I'd cut off its head. I've been reading about Henry VIII, so forgive me.
Yeah, I've been watching Time Team reruns on YouTube, so I know all about the all that stuff. Okay.
All that stuff.
Second and final hop descriptor. We usually have 3, but since we're only using 2 hops. So
this is Amarillo, and I'm gonna get to Amarillo by dawn. For all you country music fans out there, Amarillo is still trademarked. I guess it's still got a little TM beside it. Are used worldwide, where it's ultra high. Is it myrcene? Myrcene?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
Myrcene content creates a delicious orange citrus flavor. A varietal foreshadowing. A varietal of, oh boy, something that didn't print.
Uh-oh.
I can almost make it out. A varietal of Virgil Kane was his name. No. Virgil.
We'll fix it in post.
Amarillo is a varietal of something is highly acidic, making it a perfect choice for ESBs and pale ales. The American hop varietal is good for both bittering and has amazing aromatics, making it a versatile dual-purpose brewing ingredient. Commonly added to all types of IPAs, from American to Belgian to Imperial IPAs, Amarillo hops are also a great addition to American pale ales. An alpha acid range of 8 to 11% presents a moderate bittering quality, while lush floral and orangey citrus aromas add fresh flavor to any type of beer.
I remember when Amarillo came out, and we were just over the moon.
We were a gaga at it.
Okay, sample number 3.
Number 3. Oh, I like that one quite well.
That's pretty good.
That's really quite good. Yeah.
I think this tastes to me more like number 2 than number 1.
Yeah.
I want to come up with a fun descriptor like circus peanuts or something, something unique that would just automatically tell people exactly what we're tasting.
It's the most complex of the 3. I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb. I think it's the blended beer, personally. I may be wrong.
I think you're right.
It just, boy, it's got everything good from each of them. It just feels it's got a really nice earthiness. It just seems to be the most complete beer. And I attribute that to the complexity of the hops.
Yeah. It's got some of the orange. And again, I'm probably talking myself into this, but it's got some of that orange from the first one. But it's more complex, more well-rounded, more of a multi-dimensional beer than the number 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is. I really like there's kind of an earthiness to it. It's kind of grounded. It's not overly sweet, but it still has that sweet component. It has that citrus component. It has an herbal, kind of a savory herbal component, kind of like maybe thyme or sage. So when I say earthy, I don't necessarily mean dirt.
Right.
I just, but rather, a savory herb like sage or thyme, that fits better, and so you get those lighter fruit flavors, but then you also pick up those more savory herbal notes as well. And this beer, to me, has both of those going in a really balanced way. And I sure hope I'm right, because I think that's the blended beer. And if I'm not, I'm going to sound pretty stupid.
Yeah. Whoops, I deleted the file.
Yeah.
The show that never made the air. I went back and tasted number 2, and it's kind of blah compared to number 3.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, each one of the three, if my hypothesis is right, each beer has become more complex and more complete. So I have a definite idea of which one I think is which.
Number 1 is super orangey.
Uh-huh.
So I think it at least has some Amarillo. So it's at least the blend, but I think it's just all orange. I think we're on the same page. I can't remember how we've been doing lately. I think I got them all right last time. I don't remember what it was, but I think I got them all right last time.
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember how I did. I probably got them all wrong. But
or I think you got one of them right and switched the other two. I'm not sure. But
yeah.
But I think. But so are we saying that number 1 is the Amarillo, number 2 is the Hallertau, and number 3 is the blend? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I think
Amarillo, Hallertau, and blend.
I'm fairly confident about this one.
Shall we check?
Okay. I'm taking the sticker off number 1. Fingers crossed. No.
Is it Amarillo?
No, it's Hallertau. Number 1's Hallertau Mittelfruh.
Okay.
And number 2.
Well, I'm not shocked at that.
Number 2 is the Amarillo. But we got the blend right.
Okay. Well, I'm not really shocked at that, and I know it's easy to say this now, but 20 minutes ago I had it right. Meaning, when I first tasted it, I thought, well, this has to be the Hallertau. But then as I thought more about the orangeness of the beer, I switched in my mind, and I thought, no, the first beer has to be the Amarillo.
Huh.
And so I just didn't stick to my guns after I confused myself. But I wasn't. I mean, it's you're just guessing. But when I first tasted it, I thought that, like, before I tasted 2 or 3, I thought number 1 was Hallertau. But then when I started reading and thinking, well, I keep thinking about orange and orange and orange with the Amarillo. Then I put that on number 1. That's why I did that.
Well,
but that's okay.
Number 2, in the Amarillo hop descriptor, didn't it talk about the hop having a bite? Or
yeah, and I kind of expected it. I kind of expected the Hallertau to make a more complete beer, even though I know Amarillo has more bittering power, and it was a more bitter beer, so duh. But
I adjusted for the alpha acid level. In the amount of hops, but it's more than alpha acid. There are all those compounds that we don't talk about as much, like the myrcene and all the other the compounds that make up the variety. It goes beyond just bitterness. There's all those other compounds in there that have different effects, that we really don't go into.
Because I don't know anything about them.
And we're honest.
Well, and I'm honest. But yeah, well, that was interesting. That was fun, and I did learn something. I really did.
And this, being the 10-minute hop stand approach, the 10-minute hop stand may preserve a lot of the, say, citrusy or orangey characteristics in, say, a Hallertau or Mittelfruh that wouldn't be preserved in a normal beer that you would brew with it. Like, see, I don't see a lot of people or think of a lot of people doing, hop stands with, say, a Hefeweizen or, a traditional Bavarian brew.
Well, I do I've got a Munich Helles that I just use Hallertau Mittelfruh in, and it doesn't taste anything like this beer.
But where did you put the hops?
Well, all the way through.
Oh,
I mean, I have a 60-minute edition and I don't remember the exact, amount and additions, but they're carried all the way through the beer, and and so that it's 60 and 30 and like maybe flame out, something like that. So, and it's just Hallertau Mittelfruh, but it doesn't taste. It tastes very different than this 10-minute hop stand beer.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
Doggone it! I thought we had this one.
Well, I did too. But we got a third. Hey, you know what? If this was baseball and we were batting 300, we'd be multimillionaires. So there you go.
And we could still weigh the same.
And we can still weigh the same. That's right.
Look, Babe Ruth. Look at him.
Yeah.
Babe Ruth, who trained in my hometown. Did you know that?
I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hot Springs, Arkansas was the spring training grounds for lots of famous.
Oh yeah. Christy Matheson trained down there. I mean, huge, and gambled and did all kinds of things.
There you go. Here's your non sequitur for this evening.
Yep.
Well, doggone it.
Well, someday we're going to get better at this.
I think people root for the underdog. Yeah. I hope. That's what I'm hoping for.
Well, either that or sweet Polly purebred, because that's all I got going for me.
I wish I could remember the underdog theme.
Yeah, I don't know. I hated underdog. Because I was too old. I was just at the age where I wasn't supposed to like cartoons, except for I secretly did. So I was a Looney Tunes guy.
What'd you think about Dudley Do-Right? Now, Inspector Fenwick.
Exactly. I like Dudley Do-Right, but I didn't. I appreciate those cartoons much more now than I did then.
Well, they were too smart for me back then.
Yeah, see, that's just it. They were really written. They really were written by adults for adults.
Mm-hmm.
But kids liked them because they were just goofy. But if you go back now and watch them, they're pretty hip. And Snidely Whiplash, and they're pretty good.
Ooh, I did a blend of all three. That's the tastiest.
Oh yeah, well, maybe I should do that too.
So there you go.
So it'd be good for my heart. All
right. Well, now the people have tuned out for the for the end of the show.
We've bored everyone to death. And all I know is I learn something every time we do this.
Every time we do this.
Well,
that's my goal. I like to say that with every episode that you listen to, you learn something to help you brew better. So I hope that, and I hope that people are doing this experiment. They're doing, brewing these batches at home and trying them out. And they don't take long. You can knock out a single 6-pack in like an hour. I brewed all three of these beers, in like 3 hours. I was done. So,
yep.
There you go.
Yeah, it's not that much work. And it's definitely you definitely do learn how to not recognize hops. That's what I learned.
Yeah. You learn how bad you are if you're us.
At least we're honest.
Yeah.
I could have cheated. I could have, it's radio. You can cheat.
Yeah, we could have definitely cheated.
Yeah.
Maybe we should.
Watch my recognition rate go to 100 next time.
All right, Steve.
All right.
Everybody go see Steve at stevesbrewshop.com. And I'll talk to you next time.
Yeah. Happy 2021, everybody.
Is
this the first show of 2021? Do you have anything in front of this?
Yes. Woohoo.
So you realize that 2021 just means it's 2020, but old enough to drink. That can't be good.
Okay. Everybody be safe. I'll talk to you next time.
That's right. See you next time.
Well, thanks again to Steve. Doggone it, I thought we had that one. But if you go back and listen to what Steve's saying early in the show, he was on the right track. But I think I helped to derail him. Oh, well. We're just kind of to start leaning on our first instincts, maybe. If you have brewing questions, show suggestions, or just want to say howdy, write to James at basicbrewing.com or just fill out the contact form on basicbrewing.com. And please don't forget to tell us where you're from. Check out our mobile-friendly shop at basicbrewingshop.com. Thanks to everybody supporting us through our Patreon page. Special goodies coming your way. Check that out at patreon.com/basicbrewing. So until next time, till then, thanks for listening, everybody. I'm James Spencer. Production help for Basic Brewing Radio and our website is provided by Kelly Dodson. Basic Brewing Radio is a production of Active Voicing. We'll talk to you next time, everybody. In the meantime, stay well and stay tuned. So long.